Hi guys, this is Scott and this is my talk on Foldit and how it uses social media to enable players of an MMO to solve some pretty complicated real-world scientific problems. This talk is probably sort of best off used or viewed after you've gone through my case study. It goes into a lot more detail on pretty much every aspect of Foldit. Whereas this video is just going to be a basic overview of a couple of the puzzles and sort of some of the features that make it so good. So this is the login screen. Players do have to register. They can do that at the website or via the client once they download the client. You don't have to put any sort of any of your real information in, so you can call yourself whatever you will. Okay, so when you load up, it is an MMO, so it does get a lot of its information from its server. I'm pretty sure new players, when they first come in, aren't given this option here. This, I think I have gone through and I've done half of the intro puzzles, and that sort of allows me to go through and do some of these other ones. So just for starters, we'll just go in and have a look at the first puzzle. When I first started playing this, I had no idea. I read it. I got sort of the idea off a link on Facebook and came and had a look. So pretty much you guys looking at this will be exactly how I sort of felt the first time I looked at it. Okay, so once it loads up. Okay, so this is the basic interface of it, and probably the simplest puzzle in the game. The whole idea of the game is to, I suppose, get these structures here into their most efficient shape, I suppose. And you do that, so for example here it says here you can drag side chains with a mouse to get rid of the clashes. So this clash here obviously isn't good for a structure. The whole idea of it is the better structure you have, the higher score you get. To get past a puzzle you have to reach a certain score or higher. So we'll try this one and get rid of this clash to win the level. So I suppose we'll move that around and winner, Professor Scott. Okay, so we'll go on to the next puzzle. Okay, so they do get sort of progressively harder. This one here, there's a couple of clashes, so click the background to rotate your view. So yeah, I think this level here is sort of more so around sort of teaching you how to use the interface a bit more, so you can move your structures around like this and it makes other stuff disappear because it probably thinks you don't need it. Okay, so we'll just try to get past this puzzle here. Right, good clash clearing, and we'll get rid of the tutorial, and we'll try to get rid of that clash. Winner. Now I think with puzzles, even though you have got past it, there are more efficient ways you can do it. You can actually still get higher scores, and when you progress through the game and sort of start, I suppose, competing against other people, trying to get that higher score out of a single puzzle is a pretty good idea. So to give you an example, I can go through and maybe move this chain like that. Okay, so I've actually reduced my score, so there is a better structure yet. Oh, got 24 of my points back. Maybe we'll point that out. Oh, and an extra 5. So can you move that? No, you can't move that. So yeah, so that sort of gives you an idea of people can really get in there and make things quite efficient and get high scores. Okay, we'll go on to the next puzzle. Oh, as things start to get a little bit more complicated. So now we can sort of see, looks like a backbone here, and then there's lots of these clashes. So it says here you've earned the shake tool. You can now use the shake to fix clashes for you. Okay, so we'll click on the shake, and that actually, what that does is go through and, I suppose, instead of a player, hey. So if I actually go back there and I'll reset the puzzle, without that shake tool I would have had to go through and move every single one of these. Yeah, good clash clearing, which I suppose with some puzzles will get very, very sort of annoying and a very time consuming process. So so instead of that, this is, I suppose, essentially a macro that will go through and do all that for you. Maybe not necessarily in the most efficient way, but it'll move it anyway, and much more efficient than I probably would have come up with myself. So I've got past that, and we'll go on to the next puzzle. Okay, so this is where it goes through and explains, I suppose, the backbone of the protein. Tell me more. Sometimes the backbone is too close together. Click and drag the backbone to pull it apart. Okay, so this sort of goes in and shows you that instead of just these little sort of side chains that you can manipulate, you can actually go through and manipulate the whole. Oh, look at that. the whole the backbone of the structure as well. So I sort of won't go through and show you every little thing that you can do with it. The main sort of idea of this part of the video is just to sort of show you that players can go through and manipulate things themselves, but the application itself does provide, I suppose, macro ability to go through and do that automatically. That sort of ties in really well with recipes, which I will show you now. So we'll go out of the puzzle menu, go to the main menu, and go into the science puzzles. This is when stuff gets really tricky. And we'll load it up. Okay, so it says here that the protein structure is known, see if you can match it. I suppose this is when you can start to see, I suppose, the real application of the game, where the programmers and developers can actually insert real-world scientific problems and structures, and players have to either try to, to mimic it, or even in some circumstances improve the models that scientists have come up with. So down here, obviously we've gone through a lot more of the tutorial to get up to this stage. There's lots of different actions you can take and different ways that you can manipulate the structure. So there's a wiggle, which at this stage doesn't seem to do that much, but it did rank me up nonetheless, so hey, that's the way to go. Okay, so pretty much you sort of know about the actions and how they can save a player a lot of time. Well, there's another layer, I suppose, above actions, and that's actually a way to program in a set sequence of actions that you want to perform. They call these recipes. To give you an example, we'll go into this example one basic. It just goes through and it shakes the structure for a certain period of time, and then goes through and gives it a bit of a wiggle. So what this means is that players can go through, and they could spend a lot of time on a puzzle like this, and spend a lot of time working out the exact sort of way to get the structure to maybe halfway through to get past it up to the score. And they could actually record a recipe that would mimic the actions that they've done, which that in turn will save them a lot of time if they wanted to come back to it. It also means that players can share their recipes with other players, which is a very powerful feature of this community. Okay, so I'll just give you an example of how to create a recipe. So we just go down here to the Open Recipe Editor, and pretty much what you do is click on the first little bar up here, and you insert whatever action you want to do. So just say we want to give it a bit of a shake. We want to shake it for one iteration. Okay, so then in the next action we want to give it a wiggle. So we'll give that a wiggle for 3 iterations. After that, let's see, we could add bands, freeze different parts of the structure so when it wiggles it doesn't move, all that kind of stuff, but we'll just keep it at this. We'll save it, and we'll call it the ITC 510 example. Description, just a basic shake and wiggle. Okay, so that way, if you do share a recipe with someone else and you put in a good description, just like good programming practice when you're programming applications is to comment your code and let people know who are reading it what different things do. So we'll close that one. And now to run our macro, all we need to do is go up to the ITC 510 example, double click, and it will go through and run our recipe. Ta-da! Okay, I won't spend the next 6 days trying to work out this puzzle for you guys. What I'll do now is I'll go onto the Foldit website and show you some of the other sort of features. Actually, before I do that, I suppose the in-game features straight away are your chat channels. There's lots of different chat channels you can set up. At the moment, I've got a puzzle chat box, which is pretty much a chat specific to the puzzle that I'm working on. There's the global channel, which is everything that allows you to reach every single person playing the game. And there's lots of other ones, different notifications, which is notification from the server or from the developers about different stuff that might be going on in the game environment. Okay, we'll go over now to the Foldit website. Okay, this is where you can set up your groups. Players can form groups or clans where they can get together and solve puzzles together. If we just go to the groups page. Okay, this just lists some of the groups here, and we'll say we'll go into the contenders. They're the number 1. So for each group, it gives you sort of pretty much a basic description of what the group's about, their mission, which is pretty important, just to sort of show their overall direction, how they like to go about things, and what their goal of playing Foldit is in their group. Down here you can see the different puzzles that they've solved and the points that they've got. If you are a part of a group, there's also a section where you can go in and share your recipes and discuss and stuff like that. Okay, there are also forums. I did test this before and the forums seem to be down, but there's all sorts of different discussion channels there, all on specific parts of the community and the game itself. Okay, now this here is public shared recipes. This is a spot where people can go up there and post their recipes. So we'll go in here and have a look at Vulgate 1's. Okay, and pretty much what this allows you to do is pretty much download it, comment on it, and go and use it. So pretty much what this does is it allows people to go through and browse recipes. They might be looking for a certain recipe that affects a certain puzzle in a certain way, and a lot of this really does save some of the senior players and people who sort of know more about it go through the game and get better scores. So that sort of pretty much wraps it up. There is a lot more detail pretty much on every single section in the case study, so I recommend you give it a read. I posted it on the forums and also on the gateway. Cheers guys, see you later.